Dr. Kelly Turner was doing research on spontaneous remissions for her thesis for her PhD in oncology social work. She was really curious about how these people were healing and why nobody was researching them. So she took it upon herself to do that. She traveled around the world and interviewed people and their healers to learn more about what they did. And 15 years later, and 1,500 research, and individual studies that she's done, 1,500 cases that she has studied. We have found that there are 10 healing factors that they all did. And so all of these 1,500 plus spontaneous remissions or radical remissions all did these 10 lifestyle changes. And so to walk you through what those are, there's 3 physical. So those are not shocking. It's exercise, which I'll give you a little background on each one as we go through. So the 3 physical ones are exercise, diet, and using herbs and supplements specific to your diagnosis. So what exercise did not always come up immediately in the research, because can you imagine someone that went home on hospice to, after conventional treatment failed them, they weren't exercising. But what they were doing was moving. They were moving more and more gradually. So, first it became, maybe it was just sitting up on their own. Maybe it was standing, maybe it was walking around the dining room table, but eventually movement was a key part of their healing. So she wanted to make sure that factor was added, which is the main difference between her 2 books, Radical Remission and Radical Hope. She added in the factor of exercise. Radically changing your diet is a really popular conversation. We could have an entire call about that. But we always report very science-based and very much directly from the mouths of the radical remission survivors. So there's no one size fits all answer. Dr. Turner said she was really hoping she would come across a supplement that everybody was taking, that she could just say, oh, this really, unique thing found in this far off place is really what's the thing. She couldn't. But what she did find was that across the board, everybody, regardless of what diet changes they made, they reduced or eliminated 4 categories of things: meat, wheat, which is, kind of processed foods, gluten, those kinds of things, sweets, your sugars, and dairy. So they reduced or eliminated those 4 things. And that could present in very different ways. That could present as you're kind of a plant-based or vegan person or eater, or even like a ketotarian, or I call them ketotarians. Ketotarian is a vegetarian keto person, which is a whole nother conversation, but someone who eats a keto diet, like high fat, low carb. And it really depends on the person. It depends on the diagnosis. It depends on the treatment, which is the right one. So that kind of brings you to the practitioner who will help you with your herbs and supplements is often a naturopath or an integrative doctor who can do lots of blood work and nutrition testing and figure out if you have some kind of immune support that you need. Do you need to increase something? Are you having a deficiency? Or do you need to detox something? Is there something you need to remove? And when you're this is the only factor that you have to do with a licensed practitioner, according to the radical remission survivors, because you want to make sure that it's very specific to you. But when you go back to the diet conversation, what the findings showed was that every one of those interviews indicated that those people were eating half of their plate. 50% of every snack and meal was vegetables or fruit. So making sure that you have, something grown from the earth directly going into your body throughout the day. And that is kind of the commonality that she was able to make across all the different ways that people ate, was the increasing of fruits and vegetables and drinking clean water. So those are our 3 physical. If anybody, I'll pause there if there's a question or anybody wants to chime in on that.